Hello, I am Ignace Aleya from ToleratedCinematics.com, and today I will be showing you how to zoom through a newspaper into a video. So the video will be actually like an image in the newspaper, and then we'll transition it into a video itself. So the first thing that you should do is actually follow the previous tutorial on how to zoom through newspapers in Adobe After Effects, because I will be using one of these compositions. I will use the first composition, for example, and that's where we zoom in here onto a newspaper like so. And I will click on my newspaper and replace it with a newspaper that I want to show a video from. So maybe this newspaper. We'll click over here on this newspaper and on the newspaper that I want to replace it with in the project manager, and then hold Alt and click and drag it on top of that image, and now we have that new image right here. I will press P on the keyboard, hold Shift and press R on the keyboard. That's going to reveal my position and rotation keyframes, and I will just uncheck them for now so we don't animate anything. I will drag this up right here, and now we have our newspaper like so. I will maybe just rotate it a little bit so we get a better view. Okay, looks pretty cool. And what I will do as well is go to Layer, Pre-Compose, and leave all the attributes right here, and I will click on Newspaper 05, for example, click OK. And then go into that composition, and here what I will do is zoom into that newspaper and click on my pen tool. So what I will do now is click on my layer, zoom in, and I will mask out one of the images that I want to replace it with a video file. So I will click around this image here. And then press M on the keyboard and click subtract for this image. And now we have a transparent background right here. So we have the image, well, the newspaper, and then a transparent part right here. Then I will right click and import my video file, and then go back to the newspaper 01, the composition where we have actually added that mask effect. And let's see, I think that it's not perfectly done here, so I will go back here, click on my mask, and actually move it around a little bit. So go to my move tool, select this part, and just drag this up a little bit so it fits a little bit better. Okay, this seems about right, maybe a little bit higher. Okay, let's say this is okay. Let's go back to our main composition, and then I will drag my footage right here into that composition. I will now make this a 3D layer as well, and press P on the keyboard for the newspaper composition right here, and copy this. So click on the position itself, Ctrl C to copy, click on the footage and paste it, and now it's going to be in the identical place of our newspaper. Then press R on the keyboard for that newspaper and copy the orientation, because we have changed these values, and also copy these, click on the footage and paste them, and now it has the same rotation as well. Press P on the keyboard for that footage, and right here in the Z position I will move it backward one step. So just with the arrow key, I hit the up arrow key, and that's going to position it a little bit further away from the newspaper. That way we are sure that it's not going to overlap our newspaper. Then I will click on my footage and actually press S on the keyboard to scale it down and move it down as well. Scale it as necessary. And there we go, we already have our video file that we zoom into. Okay, so we have this animation, but right around here I want it to actually be in frame. So I'll click here, click on the footage itself, and press P on the keyboard and Shift R on the keyboard for the rotation. Then we'll click on these stopwatches. Click and select them and move them forward a little bit. And right over here I want to actually position it a little bit better. Rotation 0 everything out, and then reposition it like so, and push it back into Z space until it kind of overlaps my composition canvas right here. Click on it again, move it. Okay, so this should be around right. So now we zoom in and we get our video file into place right here. Click on the newspaper. And what I will do is right over here the keyframes that we started for our newspaper. We'll press P on the keyboard for the position of our newspaper, move it a little bit forward, and we're going to bring it back into space. So that way we actually zoom into our newspaper. Okay, so we get something like this. But right over here you can see this black border. We don't want that, so click on the footage and go to Effects and Presets and search for Motion Tile and drag Motion Tile into the footage, onto the footage, and mirror the edges for the height. So I will bring it up to like 120, and that way it's going to cover that for now. And then we zoom into the newspaper and get our original shot right here, and it's going to play it out. So it looks pretty cool. Then go back to the shot where the footage is completely in frame, and then we'll click on a keyframe for the camera and delete the last keyframe right over here so it doesn't move into Z space anymore. And that way we will get something like this. Also for the newspaper, we'll have to push it a little bit back even more. And there we go. Okay. And there we go. So now we have our newspaper. And one thing left to do is actually recreate this or give it a kind of picture effect. So it's like kind of black and white with some bad quality effect on it, like it's actually a photograph in the newspaper, and then transition and then transition into a scene. So we'll click over here, click on my footage, and go to Edit Split Layer, and then click on this layer, right click, Time, Freeze Frame, and now we have a photograph. So it's not animating anymore. Go to Effect, Color Correction, and add a tint effect for that image. And we can also go to Effect, Color Correction, Curves, for example, and add some contrast in there. Also go to Effect, Noise and Grain, and add some noise. Uncheck Use Color Noise and increase it something like 15 or maybe even 35, and now we get some noise in our picture. We can also go and import kind of an overlay image for our image. We can do that, but for now I think this looks all right. And then once we have done that, I will drag back a little bit and click on my splitted layer with the gray effect on it, and I will duplicate it. And then right over here I will trim it down so until it's right over here, and I will delete the effects like tint, curves, and noise. And we'll press T on the keyboard, click on the opacity stopwatch right here, and bring that keyframe at the end of our shot, and then just zero it out at the beginning. So now it's going to fade into a color shot, and then it's going to transition into our video like so. So let's preview this once more. Also, because these are 3D layers, we also have to select all of these footage files and press AA twice on the keyboard and just make sure Accept Lights is off, and that's going to change it to its original kind of color from the video, so it's not going to be affected in the final result right over here. For the first layer, we can actually turn it on, so it's actually accepting them and kind of blending into the shot, but for these two with the original kind of colors, we should check it off. Okay, let's preview. Okay, so we can see that right over here it's a little bit quick, so what I will do is just select my newspaper and footage, press U on the keyboard so I see my keyframes right over here, select my last keyframes and just drag them out a little bit. Right click, Keyframe Assistance, easy to smooth out the animation, and there we go, we have the result of an image turning into a video and then playing back like so. You can drag it out even more as it's quite slow. I'm going to right click Composition Settings and also make it longer because my video plays longer. Click OK and drag this out, and there we go, we have the effect. Now we'll drag out here, you will see that now it's affecting my image, and that's because the camera isn't as long as the composition. Just make sure your camera is consistent over the complete composition, and I will just play your clip as you can see right over here. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and also subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.